Hi everyone, and welcome to the overwhelm of choices that is my studio desk for today's video. I'm going to share how I figure out what I'm going to do for this video for Junk Journal January. So if you're new to me, I'm Concy from atop Serenity Hill, and welcome. If you are new, welcome back. If you've been around a while. And so I'm working through the prompts for Junk Journal January during this month for 2025. And the way that I structured it for myself was I only put out videos twice a week. And so I didn't want to do a video every day. So I decided to group the prompts together. And so if you're new here, you can find my playlist below. But the ones that are currently available or that I'm up to are 6, 7, 8, and 9, because you're going to be viewing this if you view this on the day it gets released on the 9th. And so I wanted to combine embossed, tuck spot, antique, and hidden all at the same time. And as you saw from my desk at the beginning, I went down a bazillion rabbit holes on what to do and kind of overwhelmed myself. And I wanted to share that with you. I think it's important that you see that even though I do this as a living and I make videos, and sometimes we as artists on the internet can make things look effortless, it's not always effortless. So I wanted to share where my thoughts were, like how I went about picking things for these prompts, and then I'll work through some of the prompts here with you as well. So the first was embossed, and my first instinct was, I have these absolutely gorgeous paint chips that I used an embossing machine, a Sizzix machine from my local library, and they have some really beautiful embossing folders. And so I have these. So I already have embossed paper. I didn't have to go looking for it. The other thing I discovered in my stash was that I have, where is it? Of course, now I can't find any of the stuff because you saw my desk. I have these old embossing gloss and embossing powder from a company called Colorbox. I have had this for a million years, and it still works, which is delightful because I tested it out on one of these embossed sheets. I embossed the number 1. And then, so that was my thought. I have that as an embossing, but I got overwhelmed by the fact that I'm like, I have all these, which ones do I choose? I also found this little piece, not found, but I made this piece. I just recently got a Sizzix machine, and the only embossing folder I have is the one that makes these little bumps. And I did it on this, which is very hard to see. Oh, there, you can see it right there. On this piece, just to have some more embossing fodder. And then I even embossed the embossing with embossing powder. So what I did with the folder, I then put embossing powder on top, but I was trying it out and I got the embossing powder everywhere. But that's okay, that's how we learn. So it kind of got me a little like, okay, I have all this, where do I go from it? The next thing that popped into my head was I saved this from some tea I was drinking, and I became absolutely obsessed would be a wrong word, but convinced that I had to use this even though it was ripped, kind of weird and all that, because the next version was Tuck Spot. So I wanted to use this, and it's purple, and I'm, so I went, this is how my brain was working and overwhelming myself. So I went searching for a page in my journal that felt, appropriate, like what would I like? And I ended up on this centerfold, which has these purple flowers. And so this seemed fun, acai berry, kind of florally, it's naturey. And so you can see where my brain starts to go. And then I kept thinking like, well, how do I want to use it? Do I want to, tape this closed. How would I tape it closed? Do I need to rip it open? But then I want the word. Like, this is how our brains work and how the overwhelm can paralyze us into doing something. So I wanted to share this in that you are not alone if this happens to you. And I keep having to remind myself, this is a journal made up of junk that only has to appeal to me. It doesn't have to appeal to my audience. I'm sharing how I do things, and whether you like what I do in the end is really irrelevant, because I'm just here for inspiration. And sometimes that inspiration is, I love everything she did. I would follow it and I got so many good ideas. And sometimes that inspiration is, what the hell was that? And I would never have done that. And that to me is also inspiring for you, because it allows you to see what your style is, what you're drawn to, what you're not drawn to. You've watched me try something, and now you know you wouldn't try that. So that's why I wanted to share this kind of like my overwhelming feeling yesterday by gathering all this stuff together and sharing with you that happens to everyone. And sometimes you just have to remind yourself that you have to glue something down and begin. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I have my tea bag. I kind of ended up on this floral theme because of the background. So I chose, and purple. I chose this embossed card in purple. And then my next thought was tea. I'm not sure I like, the wording here. So how could I cover the wording? And I have this doily. So I was like, tea, doily, that's how my brain was kind of connecting parts to rein myself back in. So I have the doily. Would I use this as a tag? Would I use it as maybe just some decoration up here? A friend at a class just gave me this. She isn't using it anymore, but thought I could use it. And I was like, ooh, these are lovely. So can I pull these out and tuck them in my tea bag? Then I was like, well, this is a tuck spot. How many ways can I use it as a tuck spot? We have the, put it in the bag. We can also tape this down and tuck underneath. So do I have something I can tuck underneath? And as I'm looking around all my space, I have this tag that came with a pair of earrings. Whoops, I'm attached to this thread. Oh my God, go away. Came with some earrings that someone gave me for Christmas. So that could maybe tuck in here, but it's black. I love the bee. How could I, you can see where my brain just went banana pants yesterday. So I pulled out this magazine image transfer. I have a whole video on how I do these. It's below. But then, is it too dark? Do I need to put it against white? Does that take up the black? Again, I just went down rabbit holes. And so I reined myself back into it doesn't matter. All you can do is try. You like this on white, you want to use this tag because it's, a piece of junk. It's left over. It actually means something to you in that way because it was part of earrings from, one of my best friends. So it means something to me. So how can you use it? And just try things. So I'm going to work on this page. I don't think I'm going to talk through it because I think that you kind of get the idea of where I'm going with it. So I'm just going to play and put some music on. And then we'll come back and see if there's another prompt, the antique or the hidden, that we want to delve with today, because I did all of them all at the same time. But let's go with one and see how we do, okay? So if you're following along and you're getting overwhelmed, my first thing to you is find one thing, one piece. To me, this was important. I wanted to use this. And that's your first instinct. I'm going to use this. Okay. I want to make sure that I don't want to lose all this. Is there something? Can I tape it? Do I have some pretty washi tape? What do I want to do to keep this intact so it can become a tuck spot? When I make that decision, which by the way was to use some tape, alcohol ink tape, then I make the next decision. I don't like the words. Awesome. How can I cover them? And so instead of overwhelming yourself, stop and bring it back to one decision. When you've made that decision, go to the next one and let the first decision go. It stands. Don't go back on it. Okay. And again, this is just an invitation to try this. You can make all the decisions you want. You can change your mind as many times as you want. I just wanted to give you a little encouragement to stick with it, because even if in the end you don't like the page, you will learn from it. So, and people, it's a junk journal. This is a piece of a magazine that we would have thrown in the recycling. This is something that most people throw in the garbage. Okay. My friend that gave me this doesn't need it anymore. She could have thrown it in the recycling. So just remember that it's a play, it's curiosity, it's what if, it's let's try, and then we learn, we evaluate, and then we try something different, or we learn and love something and we do it again. All right. So let's play. Okay. So there I've ended up with 2 tuck spots. So I'm not that I would untuck it, but I didn't want them to fall out. But I created a tuck spot. I can also, if I want, add like a journaling card up in there if I was to just rip this. And I could still tuck like a journaling card or something up in there, a little note. I left this so I could write something, maybe a quote or, I don't know, a note to myself. In my, maybe write about what this was, an actual gift and who it was from. These flowers can come in and out, but I glued this one. So, I gave it options. If it starts to annoy me, I can glue it in. But in the end, it was just about, I wanted to use this, I wanted to use embossed, and then just from there, making decisions one at a time. And now I have this absolutely delightful floral page that is super fun and covered 2 of the prompts. It could have covered many of the prompts. Some of the items that I had could have been antique, and then I would have used them as well. So if you're overwhelmed, start with one thing. What's the one thing that you really want to put on the page? And then start making your next decisions based on that. So this was it, and then I just kept going from there. So keep it simple. Remember that it doesn't have to be the most spectacular thing you ever made. It can just be a fun exercise in learning how you put things together and how your pages come together, and have fun. Have fun with it. Let it just evolve, and whatever comes out, comes out. So I still technically have antique and hidden to do as prompts, but I love the way this came out. I want to sit with it, and nobody says that I have to do all the prompts today. That is also a self-imposed thing that I can change, and I can add the other prompts in another way. I don't even have to do them, I'm talking for myself, but I'm also talking to you as if you're doing something like, I have to do all the prompts. No, you don't. If a prompt doesn't speak to you, walk away from the prompt, people. Walk away from the prompt. So I do have ideas about antique and hidden, but I'll do another video on it. I'll do it a different day. Maybe I won't do it, as a video. Maybe I'll just do it for myself and then explain in a video what I've done. So allow yourself to just do whatever's speaking to you today. Don't get upset. Don't be overwhelmed. Or if you are, it's okay. It happens. How can you bring it back to the fun and the play and the joy and the delight of gluing stuff down in a journal? All right. Thanks so much, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're new again, please subscribe. I would love to have you here as part of the community. If you would like to follow along with my junk journal escapades for the month of January, the playlist is below. And I would love to hear how you deal with overwhelm, or if this helped you in any way find a bit of comfort in that all of us get overwhelmed and don't know what to do with a junk journal. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. See you soon.